What is good, everybody, and welcome to Victory Formation. We got Rob Bruin in the building. We're going to be talking about the winners and losers of free agency and of the NBA draft so far right after this bumper. What's good, good people? I'm Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with my guy, Rob Bruin, Mr. ESPN Rob Bruin now. How's it going, my man?
I'm chilling, bro. I appreciate you having me. ESPN is cool, man. Just meeting a lot of new people, trying to stay adjusted. I'm from New York, so it's definitely an adjustment for me out here in Connecticut as well, too.
Hey, that's dope. That's dope. For those who don't know, Rob just recently got a gig over at ESPN in Bristol, Connecticut. So, clap it up for him. My man had to leave his New York roots and head up to Bristol, Connecticut. But it's enough about Rob. We're here to talk about some NBA basketball.
Get right to it.
Yeah, Rob's really deep. We seeing all of these moves, man. Both free agency, the draft, all of this is coming up. Hell, there might be some trades or something coming up down the pipeline as we're on this podcast. But Rob, from your perspective, just give me two or three some of the big winners of the free agency / draft period in your eyes so far.
I'm gonna go with Chicago.
Ooh,
I like Lonzo Ball. I like Zach LaVine. I like DeMar DeRozan. I think that you can never have too much scoring. I think DeMar DeRozan is hungry. I think he has PTSD from doing all of that losing with the Raptors. He's still dreaming about LeBron. And somebody else I would say that I'm excited about is the Hornets. You have LaMelo Ball. You have Miles Bridges. You have PJ Washington. You have James Bucknight that just came out of UConn.
That was a big draft.
It was huge. He was a sleeper. I thought he was going to go a little bit earlier than he was projected. But I know he was in tryouts and everything last year as well, too. So it's good to see that they snatched him as well. And I would say that's it right now.
That's it.
I mean,
that's all you giving me? Is that literally the only?
Listen, Chicago? I mean, of course we're excited about the Lakers, but everybody wants to have them in wheelchairs. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to have them in wheelchairs. But to be 100% honest, I think that the Lakers have a lot of experience right there.
Yeah.
I think that even though they are that old, it's something to worry about, but I don't think it's that deep. I think that when it comes down to the playoff time, the biggest piece to that is going to be Anthony Davis. If he's not healthy, none of those trades are going to matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's cool that Dwight Howard is his third, fourth time with the Lakers at this point. You know what I mean? It's cool that they got Trevor Ariza back. That's great as well, too. But Anthony Davis is going to be the nucleus to that because I'm relying on LeBron to take care of himself. I think that Russell Westbrook and LeBron James are going to work. Russell is going to have to play off the ball. And to be 100% honest, if it's not working by All-Star break, I think LeBron is going to send that man packing.
You think LeBron
that's that. You know how LeBron operate. You know how LeBron operate.
Man, think about the Lakers, though, and I talked about this in depth yesterday. But yes, they're old. They got old guys. Melo's old. Russ is old. I mean, Russ is on the younger side.
Russ is
but
32.
Trevor Ariza is old. But you know what I mean? Wayne Ellington been in the league for a long time. The only young dudes you really have are Nunn, THT, and Malik Monk, the one you guys just signed. But I really like what the Lakers did. I'm surprised you didn't throw the Knicks in there, man. You didn't like anything that the Knicks did. I know. Hey, you give me the face. I know you're not a Knicks fan, but come on, man. You ain't like.
Jeff, don't have me blow your podcast up. You know I
Do
don't.
what you gotta do. What was wrong with what the Knicks did? You went out and got Evan Fournier. You re-signed Burke and D Rose. You just got Kemba. Is that not exciting to New York people to see Kemba headed back to New York? Come on.
All right, so let's start here. I think that D Rose was worth more money. If we watch the playoffs, I think that he showed us that. I think it's hard for us to get out of our minds who D Rose used to be. And it's clear that he's showing us he went through a lot mentally. He had to rebuild himself as a person, as a player. And he's a newer version of himself as a basketball player. He's not a high flyer anymore.
Yeah.
He had a few high 20-point games for the Knicks in the playoffs this year. We're not going to talk about what Julius Randle did because that was just terrible work, in my opinion. But I feel like Derrick Rose is at least deserving of $60 million. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the way that they're paying the players now. If you're giving Evan Fournier close to $80 million, you're not telling me that you can't give Derrick Rose. He's on a first name basis that he can't get 60 mil. Like,
so you think the Knicks shortcut? You think the Knicks shortchanged him, or he just took less than what he deserved?
No, the least he deserved, or I believe they were going to give him was 40 mil. I was happy when I saw 43 because I at least felt like they thought about him to some degree, and I said, okay, we're really going to do what's best by his side.
I really like the addition of Kemba Walker because Kemba needed to get out of Boston. The Boston experiment, Rob.
But you know what they say? Once they send you to New York, your career's over.
I mean, that's what it used to be. That's what it used to be. But the Knicks last year showed us life. We know the Knicks can play defense. The problem was the two best players can only go one direction. That's left, right? And they didn't have enough scoring. I think adding a Kemba, adding a Evan Fournier, getting Mitchell Robinson back, the Knicks will be in good shape. Now, are they better than Milwaukee? No. Are they better than Brooklyn? No. Are they better than Philly? Probably not.
No.
But the fact that you continue to stay a really good situation, a really good organization, it looks like you're on the up and up. You have an upward trajectory. Here's the thing, and the reason why that's important because of one of the teams that I would call a loser from this draft/free agency period is the New Orleans Pelicans, who is somebody that's always linked to the Knicks, Zion Williamson. The New Orleans Pelicans have had a horrible offseason. You had to dump the Steven Adams and the Eric Bledsoe contracts. In order to do that, you had to move from 10 to 7 in the draft. So you dump those. You get back Giannis Valanciunas, who's a solid player. And I don't even remember who they got at 17. But the fact that you also allow Lonzo to walk, you get rid of Lonzo in a sign and trade simply because you didn't want to pay him, and bring back Devontae Graham in replacement. That ain't gonna cut it. What are your thoughts? What's your thoughts about the Pelicans, or maybe even a loser from this offseason so far?
I think that the Pelicans are gonna mess around and Zion is gonna leave.
He's gonna bounce.
I feel like they're making it easier for him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They struggle with having Jeff Van Gundy as the coach. Zion
that
is
higher from the jump too.
Yeah, and I think with that younger generation, Brandon Ingram, Zion, you need somebody that's relatable. You know, even Chauncey Billups would have been somebody I was good for that situation. But I'm glad that he's in Portland. So with me saying that, I think that when you have a premier player like that in Zion, you have to cater to his needs. You have to give him a reason because this is his second year now.
Yeah,
he's going into his second, right?
No, he's going his third year.
Okay, that's all right. So he completed 2 years, right? Because he was injured half of his first year. That he played his right, exactly. So this is his third. This is the last year of his rookie contract. Now we're talking about. So they need to give him something that will make him want to stay. And I don't know. We might see Zion go east, bro.
Yeah, I mean the fact that, like you said, they're making it easier for him to leave. The only thing working in the Pelicans' favor right now is the fact that they can offer him the most money. Right, how the end of the Supermax and the end of the rookie deal.
He signed to Jordan. He's not. I'm not saying he's not worried about money, but money isn't an issue. Yeah. He can get money. I'm pretty sure he wants to win.
No, absolutely. That's why I'm saying the only thing working in the Pelicans' favor is the fact that they could probably, after this year, they can offer him that extension, which will be. Let's assume Zion makes if he stays healthy, knock on wood, and makes
like 190 or something like that.
It's like 200. I think he can get up because Luka and
because it's going up every year.
Yeah, so they can offer him. I think the max is like 205. They can give him that or $201 million extension. That's the only thing working in the Pelicans' favor because everything else that they seem to do, they're pressing all the wrong buttons. Now they went out and got Willie Green, who I believe will be a good young guy that they can relate to as the head coach, right? Like not that in that Van Gundy stain. He's got his own thing going on, and he's someone who knows what winning basketball looks like, right? And I think that's going to be huge. I really like what Brooklyn did, though. When we're talking still about winners, I think going out and getting Patty Mills and re-signing Blake Griffin were huge. They're very silent, very like non-really like splashes, but Brooklyn didn't have to make any splashes if Brooklyn guys stay healthy. What say you, Rob?
I don't really think keeping Blake Griffin was a help. It's not. They didn't go up or down. I feel like they stayed in the same spot. Brooklyn hasn't really made too many changes, really, honestly, that I'm seeing. Because Brooklyn was kind of ahead of this curve, if you're really thinking about it. When we're looking at all of the new big threes now, they're really not trend setting, but they started the madness I feel like they're really the reason why this trade deadline went the way it did. Free agency, excuse me. So when you look at it, Chicago has a new one, Knicks, the Hornets, the Lakers. I mean, even like on ice right now, it might be Ben Simmons trying to slide to the Golden State Warriors. So I don't know, man. Brooklyn, they're in position to win it next year, but as we both know, it's about help.
No, you're right. I like Blake because Blake played well in the playoffs. I believe Blake got a new life leaving Detroit, going to Brooklyn. I think Blake
tried to tell people he was going to catch a couple bodies this year, and nobody was hearing me.
He did for sure. And I think he got new life. I do think he's an asset. And I think, like you said, what you said is perfect. Everybody's trying to play catch up. They're trying to stack the deck, not so they can catch the Bucks. No disrespect to the NBA champions. But they're trying to stack the deck because they're trying to catch up to Brooklyn. People know. Everybody knows. Like, let's be real. If Brooklyn guys are healthy, they are in the finals.
It's spicy for everybody.
Yeah. And they're in the finals. I said it yesterday. Brooklyn is KD going from a size like 16 to a size 12 away from being in the finals this year. His foot was this close away from sending him home without his guys.
That shot was insane, bro.
And that was without his guys. His guys weren't even there. Harden and Kyrie weren't even there. So the fact that we know Brooklyn is the real deal, I believe Blake is definitely an asset. I like what Brooklyn did, adding Patty Mills, getting some chemistry, and you got a year under your belt too, by the way, because all the big-time dynasties don't always win in that first year. The Warriors didn't win, and the Warriors did win in their first year. Miami didn't win in their first year together, but we will see.
Most teams don't.
Yeah, and I believe that Brooklyn, and I think, honestly, the only thing that kept them from even really winning or having a chance to win was injuries. But you can't always count on their guys being there. Specifically Kyrie. That's why I think the Patty Mills signing is huge, because although he'll never be Kyrie Irving, let's not ever get it twisted.
Solid backup though.
But he's a solid backup, and if Kyrie does miss any games for injuries or whatever, that Patty Mills can step up, and you're not. It's not a huge drop off. Like it will still be able to maintain and stay afloat while Kyrie is resting up or getting ready to come back. But you said before you had some notes about Chris Paul and his signing to the Phoenix Suns. Rob, the floor is yours, sir. What do you have to say about that 4 years, 120 Chris Paul got from Phoenix?
First, I have to say this. I want all of my black men and my black women to get their bag. Yes. I'm not even here to check this man's bag. I'm not even worried about the money. I'm happy that he's building generational wealth. I want to start there. I'm happy about that. But Chris Paul is not a winner. That's been my biggest thing with Chris Paul. He lost in 08 with Nola against the Spurs. He's definitely. I was doing some research, and I forgot that when he was on the Clippers, they lost to Portland as well in 2016.
They did.
Another up 2, lost 4 straight. Now, granted. Yeah, you see that pain in your face? That's what I'm saying. It's just always this injury thing with him, right? And it's not. I hate talking about Chris Paul because he always makes me sound like a hater. But I feel like the media world or us has put him in this position to be a top 5 point guard of all time. And for me, you have to be a winner if you're gonna sit in that seat. Now, in this year's finals, this man let 4 straight games go in a row. 4. Didn't even steal game 5 back at the crib. Outside, running around, looking confused, not making the right passes, letting his team come down, not facilitating the offense. Devin Booker's bringing the ball up. No shot to him, but Devin Booker's not the point guard.
It's not.
Why is PJ Tucker bringing the ball up? Why is Drake Crowder bringing the ball up? Why is Chris Paul looking so confused? And this is his moment. Not to mention Devin Booker fell short a few games.
Yeah. It just hurts me because anybody knows me knows how much I love me some Chris Paul.
Do you? I never know that.
I love me some Chris Paul, man. I think the biggest problem with Chris Paul, though, is the injuries, right? And like you said, the bag, I believe Phoenix gave him money like a thank you. It's almost like a thank you present, right?
But thank you for what?
But they got to the finals.
Wait. Hold on, Jeff.
Finals. Did they not?
Hold on. We gave you the bag to come here because we needed you to do that.
Absolutely.
Like that was the incentive.
And that's what he did.
But what we're rewarding what we needed you to do. Like it's mandatory. That's why we brought you here.
Yeah, but there was no guarantee. Like, did anybody pick Phoenix to go to the finals before this past season?
No. I didn't have that. I thought that them being in the second seed and even the first, I thought it was a fluke. I'm not gonna lie. I did. I'm gonna be honest. I did. There's no way
on God's green earth too many people pick Phoenix to be, like you said, a top 2 seed in the West and to make the finals. Like, they traded for Chris Paul to make their team better. I don't think they expected to be in the finals, though. Like, you could probably ask Sarver, the owner of Phoenix, or Monty Williams, the head coach, like, hey, did you think you were going to be in the finals after this Chris Paul acquisition? And they're going to say, hell no, I didn't think that. But I'll take it. That's why they partied the way they did when they won the West. Remember the way they partied? Like, they partied like that because they didn't expect to be there. They didn't think they were going to go that far with that team, with all those guys under the age of 25, Bridges, Ayton, Cameron Payne, Devin Booker. Like, all these guys are young, right? Like,
they are very young.
25 and under. I think the oldest one is Campaign. He's like right at 25.
Like 20,
So all these guys are like 25 and under, and they didn't expect to be that far. They're happy. And that's why it's like, okay, thank you. And Chris Paul is going to keep them, maybe not in the Western Conference Finals because they need to get some breaks. Denver got hurt. The Lakers got hurt. Like, they got some breaks. But, hey, they can only play the teams in front of them. What I will say, though,
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, what I will say, though, is that it's a gamble. We know Chris Paul. He's not getting no younger. He's only getting older. You just gave him a 4-year deal. It's going to pay him till he's 40.
Jeff, you know this man made over $400 million in his career.
That's me. There's a couple things that tells me. That tells me he has a great agent.
Oh yeah,
and he's played basketball for a very long time.
You forgot the third one, and he's the president of the Players Association.
Yeah. When you play basketball at a high level for this long, that's what happens. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about what 16
This is Chris
years?
Paul.
Yeah, and Chris Paul. And he's a small guy. Like, Chris Paul walking the room, obviously most people will know that follow basketball. Hey, that's Chris Paul. But if you just looked at him, you're like, you wouldn't think NBA. Like, you playing the NBA? It's like 6 foot, 190 pounds or something. Like, you playing the NBA? Like, nah, I don't see it. But that man is impressive. What he's doing, and I think. I hate what happened against Milwaukee because I picked the Suns to win.
Well, I mean, Jeff, you said that this is your king. You said that this was your king. Your king gave up 4 straight games. It's unacceptable, Jeff.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
He did that with back in 2013 with Zebo. I mean, come on.
I gotta eat this one, bro. I gotta eat this
4-0.
I gotta eat this one.
Shout out to Giannis, man. You gotta give Giannis his flowers. Chris Middleton.
You got to. You're the main person that gotta give Giannis.
You know I gotta give Giannis his flowers.
For those who don't know, at one moment during Giannis's career, in his career, I mean like 2 months before he won the Finals MVP.
Literally,
Rob is on record saying that Giannis is LeBron James when he was in high school.
Yes.
He said
Giannis's entire career looks like his hoop mixtape or his Baller's Life mixtape from when he was at St. Vincent St. Mary. That's exactly how his whole career looks. But listen, it worked. And I want to throw something else at you. Giannis and Steph, I feel like we need to glorify them a little bit more. They're the only two that I could think off the top of my head right now that stayed home. Steph has never really tried to jump ship. He stayed through the tough times. He stayed through the injuries. And now what? He's the only player to receive $200 million contracts, max contracts. Two.
2 of them. He's got two $200 million deals. So
yeah,
had never been done before.
Yeah, we need to push that narrative more because I understand everybody is trying to compete. And we have to think, like, going back to when Steph Curry came in the league, nobody was trying to play at Golden State.
Nah.
Nobody.
Nah.
And that man has never tried to leave. Never.
They were a cool, like, little niche team, right? Like the little We Believe team. They were a team full of misfits almost with Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson, Baron Davis, and they had that upset over Utah some years back. But like you said, nobody wanted to be a Golden State Warrior. Like they were a cool, like, hey, we believe. But the thing about Steph, I will say though, I don't know if I want to give him as much credit because it's a lot easier to stay when you have when Kevin Durant comes to play with you for 3 years. That makes it a little easier to stay when that happens. And 2, the Warriors hit on some big time draft picks. Like when you draft Draymond in the second round and you draft Clay in the late lottery, and then obviously Steph Curry becomes Steph Curry at the 6th pick, and Minnesota passed on him twice within those first 7 picks. It's easier to stay home. Like it's easier to continue to want to play with those guys. Giannis took a bigger risk, I would say, and it's because
all of us told him to leave.
That's
one of the most courageous moves I've ever seen. Giannis
took the risk because Chris Middleton is a former 2nd-round pick who's a good player, but he's not a Klay Thompson. Drew Holiday is a guy who's been to a couple teams now, who's a good player. But in his prime, I would say Draymond is still a better player than Drew Holiday. So, like,
hold on, Jeff. Drew Holiday, Draymond Green is better than Drew Holiday in his prime.
Yeah.
Draymond Green has no offensive game.
Draymond made 4 All-Star teams, Defensive Player of the Year, 2nd this past season. Draymond pretty good, though. You better ask Draymond about Draymond.
Draymond been struggling for the past couple years, brother.
He has struggled for the last couple years, absolutely.
I'll say this about Draymond Green. Looking at him ever since Clay has been down, you can tell everything that they're lacking because of what he doesn't do.
Yeah.
It's obvious. And he's
Draymond
one of those energy type. Yes, he is a systematic system. Yes,
and he's a perfect fit for the Golden State system, right? When Clay and Steph are both healthy, because when Clay and Steph are both healthy, you don't need him to score. You need him to make occasional threes because he's going to be wide open sometimes. Set really good screens, defend the best, offensive player on the other team, and grab some boards. You know what I mean? But like he
has to be an offensive threat, though, Jeff. He has to. He's getting paid too much money not to be scoring the ball. And it's great that he can bring the ball up, but take some shots.
Yeah.
At least attempt. Like he.
So, okay, question for you, Rob. So we talked about money and we're talking about contracts. We talked about Steph's and Chris Paul's. But so does a contract? This is a serious question. Should a contract dictate what you expect out of a player? So what I mean by that is, if you're paying a guy $150 million, do you expect a certain amount of points, a certain amount of production, a certain amount of is your level of expectation raised for a player if they're getting paid a certain amount, or are you just gonna say, hey, we know who that guy is, he's gonna be him no matter what? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm going to say with money, it comes expectation and demands, right? And it's pinpointed towards potential as well, too, because you don't know if somebody is going to get injured, but you're also basing this off of what they've done in their past, off of their resume. Yeah, I think that it's sort of a dicey game because even though I'm paying you, it's no guarantee that I'm going to get what I want from you. It's just really just on a hope and a blessing that you'll do what we're expecting you to do. So I don't think that the money guarantees it, but it's an incentive for you to push and do what we need you to do. That's the best way I can answer that.
No, absolutely. What I think also too is if, say for an example, Andrew Wiggins, right? I think he's on $150 million deal.
Man.
I'm paying Andrew Wiggins $150 million. I want the
That's
best
how he's getting paid, right?
Yeah, huh? Yeah.
That's what he's getting paid?
Andrew Wiggins signed one of those big time extensions after his rookie deal. He's probably towards the end of it now.
That's still from the Timberwolves.
Yeah, but he's on the Warriors now, so the Warriors are biting that bullet. The Warriors have the largest luxury tax in the NBA right now.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's between Wiggins, Oubre's deal is like a pretty penny. Steph just got $200 million. Clay's still on like a 175, and then Draymond's on a $100 million deal. They're like playing with monopoly money around the league. But another thing too, Rob, I want to ask you about this. With guys like Steph signing a 4-year deal will take him into, I think he's like age 38 or something. Chris Paul's 4-year deal will take him into age like 40. He'll be 40 by the time. Do you think those are smart investments by their teams, giving guys who are at the latter stages of their career long-term deals with such high price tags?
Well, see, I feel like their situations are slightly different. Mm-hmm. It's easier to pay a champion that has put your organization in a winning situation. We're still praying for your king to deliver after year 16. So now we're going into year 17 on hoping that this man will deliver. I think that also with Steph Curry, he just has so many accolades, 2-time MVP. I mean, he just gives you everything that you need in a point guard, and he's changed the game so much. With Chris Paul, we're looking at both of them, the future Hall of Famers.
Absolutely.
Chris Paul is just tough. Like I said, I would never want to bash him for what he got because I feel everybody should get as much as they can. But I feel like I'll say that was a risk, giving him 120 until he's 40. I would definitely say that.
Nah, you're right, bro.
It's right. A risk. Jeff, what if he misses a whole season?
You gotta pay him $40 million no matter what. Like that's the thing. Like that's not far fetched neither.
No, it's not. Especially dealing with him.
We don't wish injury on nobody. But
no,
Chris
it's not.
Paul has an extensive injury history. And the worst part about Chris Paul.
You forgot say the best part. Say the best part. Injury when? In the playoffs when it matters.
I was going to say it's the worst part, not the best part. I was just about to say the worst part of Chris Paul is he used to always get hurt during the playoffs. This year they got lucky. That he was able to come back.
And this year he didn't even get hurt. He just got COVID. It just
no. Remember the first round he got hurt. His shoulder was messed up.
Yeah, it was now he massaging the shoulder.
He had to miss a game or two. So
I'm like, here we go.
It just wasn't extensive, and then he got COVID. It's like, oh my God, bro! Like, what is going on? Why is it always
like?
Chris
Is this
Paul,
just
man?
bad luck?
Why didn't it be somebody else, man? Well, I guess it was a lot of somebody else's. A lot of people was hurt, but dang, bro, Chris Paul always got to get hurt, man. The worst times, the most inconvenient times. Like, oh my God, bro!
He's consistent with that.
It eats me up, bro. It eats me up. Let's talk about the draft a little bit, Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your favorite player in the draft that you think went to a really great situation?
My favorite player in this draft is Josh Christopher. Ooh. He went to the Houston Rockets with Jalen Green. I really like what Josh Christopher has been doing just coming from LA. I think he has the persona of a star. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, he's not there yet. Yeah. I think he has a little D weight in his game. I'm not going to compare him to him, but he's a slasher, high flyer. I think he's actually big. I think Josh Christopher's like 6'5".
Yeah, he's like 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah, he's like 6'5", and I just think that he's gonna make some noise alongside Jalen Green. I think John Wall really needs to lock in with those young boys and put them on track because he has something there. Now, obviously, they're young. They have Jalen Green as well too, so you can't demand too much from them because they're trying to get their feet wet. But definitely Josh Christopher because I think he's going to get a lot of deals, and he just has what it takes to be an NBA star. So I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, Josh Christopher is good, and they have a nice core, young nucleus of guys down there in Houston. Not going to be very good because young talent doesn't win in the NBA right away.
Not right away.
It takes a while. It takes a while. It takes you to, only the 5, 6, 7 year veterans are the ones who normally win in the NBA. But Christopher being back with Green, now for those of you who haven't seen them play, in high school, I mean, they were hoop mixtape
they played together at AAU. Exactly.
Yeah, so the fact that they're back together, I think, is big for Houston. And you can't forget they got Kevin Porter Jr., who's a bucket. They got, obviously, John Wall, who's going to be the leader, and Christian Wood. So they got some players down there.
Yeah, they have some pieces. They do.
They got some players. And I like that. I like that for their coach because, he kind of got a raw deal last year with James Harden wanting to be out. Then it just became like one of the worst teams. My favorite player in the draft was Cade Cunningham. He obviously went number 1. I think he's going to be really good. It's going to be interesting, though, because Detroit recently has been a place where talents went to die. Like, I mean, the Detroit has been like
they like the Knicks.
I mean, I had to throw another Knicks jab in there, man.
I like the Knicks, man.
But the Detroit, I mean, they've really done really bad in the draft recently. They haven't, like, even the guys who are supposed to come there and do something, the Jermaine Grants, the Blake Griffins, the Reggie Jacksons, none of those guys, all those guys seem to do better when they leave, right? Jermaine Grant was in his first year. He averaged about 23. So pairing him with Cade, I think it's something that could be a little something. I really like what they got going on there. The Warriors actually had a really good draft, right? They were able to get
okay. Jonathan Kuminga is solid.
Kuminga can be,
but then we just push Wiggins out the way now for sure. Just let him go because you don't need him.
Yeah, I still think they're gonna be in that Damian Lillard, Ben Simmons, Brad Beal kind of sweepstakes because the fact that they want to win now. I know the Warriors see that their window is right now. Obviously, Clay's coming off 2 huge, like very severe injuries. We're not gonna act like those injuries wasn't nothing to mess with. So he's not gonna be all the way right. At least I don't think in that first year. And that's why they want to still add another star. We know Dame's from Oakland. I
already felt like that could happen
without the ball. What was that?
I felt like that could happen. I felt like Dame and Steph definitely could pair up because I think when you just look at everything that's happened within basketball. I feel like the players have shown us a sign that you can't think that anything is impossible with them now. Like, I know we can go back and forth about LeBron going to Miami with Chris Bosh and D Wade, but we never in 1,000 years thought that Kevin Durant a few years ago on July 4th was going to Golden State.
Not at all.
All right, so LeBron made the scale. KD slapped the scale over. He just tilted the whole thing.
He broke it. He broke the scale.
That's completely different. You know what I mean?
And what's so significant about that, too, is that because of what LeBron did, which essentially led to what KD did, we make fun of people like Giannis when they decide to stay, and it seems like a bad move, right?
Absolutely.
Like when you're not maneuvering, when you're a Damian Lillard who's stuck in Portland right now, we're like, dude, you got to ask for a trade. Or if you're Brad Beal who's stuck in Washington right now, it's like, bro, you gotta make a move. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta make a trade because we've seen Anthony Davis do it. We've seen James Harden do it. We've seen, pick your favorite player do it, like Carmelo or whoever. Say, yo, I gotta get up out of here because I need to go to a team that's gonna put me in the best position to win now. Right? Yeah. Like now. I might not get a Chris Paul career where I get 3 major deals or 16 years, 17, 18 years like LeBron and Chris Paul.
It doesn't happen for everybody that way.
10 to 12 years and really a good 5 to 7 years of prime, right? Like my prime is about 5 to 7 years. Even if you're a good player or a great player, and I need to maximize on that right now. And so that's why it's going to be interesting to see what the Warriors do, the rest of this offseason.
Let me throw this at you though, Jeff. I think that this draft that we just saw right here in 2021, I think that this is the deepest draft that we've seen at least in the past 5 years. And within this draft, this is the draft that's going to rebuild the foundation for when LeBron leaves. So when I say that, I mean, we're looking at LeBron to be healthy and solid. We're going to give him top 3 years. Right? Yeah, after that, I feel like he's just going to start messing up his stats. That's just me personally. That's what I think. But I think that, obviously Kevin Durant is going to step into his spot, but the Jason Tatums, the John Morants, the Donovan Mitchells, this is what's being cooked up right now. And this draft right here solidified the year of the big guard. Lonzo Ball is 6'6", LaMelo Ball is 6'8", and Cade Cunningham is 6'8". You have to think this is really gonna adjust the game now because the tallest guy, which originally started being the shortest guy, is gonna be one of the biggest on the floor. So now what does that mean? Does this mean we finally get to see the return of the big man? You mean I feel like we have to think about it like that because if Cade Cunningham is 6'8",
he is
6'8". This is the shortest person on the court.
He's your PG.
And he's 6'8", legitimate. Right.
Yeah.
So it's something that we really have to consider. And now you have to think about even these younger players, they're going to start adjusting their skill set like this. The guys that were the 3s and the 4s, they're already doing it, but it's going to be mandatory now because you're not going to be able to have a Steph Curry guarding Cade Cunningham. It's just not going to work. You know what I mean? So when I really see things breaking down like that, it's the year of the big guard for me.
You know, that's interesting because I never thought about that. Like you said, there's going to be more like going back to the traditional every point guard 6'1" and every center is 7 foot. I think that, like you said, that's over, bro. That's over because more and more guys in that 6'6" to 6'8", 6'9" range are going to want to be like Cade Cunningham. Are going to want to be like Ben Simmons. They're going to want to be like, LeBron James in some essence. So, yeah, no, that I never thought about that. You said, will this make for the return of the big man because there'll be big guards? I don't think the big man obviously never left because basketball is a big man.
The big man is gone.
No. Listen to me though. The big man never left because basketball is a big man's game. The average height of a basketball player is 6. Ain't too many Chris Pauls. There's way more guys the size of LeBron than the guy size of Chris Paul.
But we can admit that. Jeff, where's the big man at?
But look, I'm gonna tell you where the big man's at. The big men are shooting threes. Look at the guy who's the number one high school player. Because we'll just use grassroots. The number one high school player is Chet Holmgren. He's 7 feet, but he don't play like your traditional 7-footer. He is.
So you know what? We're not gonna call him, right? He's not a big man. He's 7 feet, but he's not a big man.
He's 7 feet.
He's 7 feet, but his skill set to me, a big man to me is Shaq-like, dominant, demands a presence, and stays in the paint. That's what I see a big man to be.
Okay.
I get it. I'll leave the stretch four and the threes. They can take everything on the outside, but my big man needs to stay in the paint and guard everything. I don't want my big man shooting threes.
Well, if that's your definition, then the big man's gone. Because
that's what I'm saying.
Because you can't even get drafted if you don't shoot threes. Like if you don't shoot threes, even if you're 7 feet, if you don't shoot threes, you're not getting drafted, at least not high. You're not getting drafted very high. I use an example. I went to WKU, Western Kentucky. Our best player this past season was a guy by the name of Charles Bassey. Okay. He averaged 18 points a game, 10 rebounds a game, 3 blocks. I had a 60% field goal percentage. Defensive player of the year and a conference player of the year. He had a hell of a year. He had a hell of a year in the Conference USA. He doesn't go to pick 53. He's your traditional big man. Now, he shot more threes this year than I think his first 2 years combined. And he shot 30.
That's because of where the game is developing.
Yes, because he had to show, like, yo, I can do this. And he still went pick 53. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're even though they can get paid, we're not gonna act like if you make it to the league, you can't get paid. Because I just seen Jared Allen get $100 million.
$100 million. Rudy Gobert get that bag. I was just about to say.
Yeah, I seen Rudy Gobert get paid. So you can get paid. Yeah. But as far as like your draft stock, it's hard to go up the draft boards if you're not in the Chet Holmgren prototype at 7 feet, as opposed to being in the Rudy Gobert prototype.
I feel like that's interesting too, because me and my homeboy were talking last night, especially about the big man. We talked about Kofi Cockburn. He played at Illinois. He just transferred to Kentucky. Now, to me, that's a big man.
Yeah,
but his footwork is terrible. And you could tell he's not very skilled. He's strong, but you can tell he still needs to adjust some things to his game.
Still raw. I seen him play too.
You can call him raw, but he's played with some good guards. He played with Cole Anthony. He played with Andre Cabello. He played with Ayo DeSumo that just got drafted to Chicago, which I think is a sneaky pick as well too. I think to me that's the return of a big man, but like I said, he just really needs to work on his footwork.
What'll be interesting too as well, because like I was saying, it's like the draft boards aren't reflecting like big men going very high, like the more of the traditional big men.
Yeah.
But we just saw Giannis win a championship being a traditional big man. Now he's the more modern version of a traditional big man, right?
Can we stop there for a moment?
What's that?
I have to admit that I had Giannis as a 3 for a very long time.
And he was.
I did. But when I watched him closer this year, and like that man's not a 3.
No, he's
like a Kevin, not a Kevin Garnett, but like he's a 4.
He's easily like without question. Yeah. Without question, he's a 4. Like he's in his skill set. Yeah, he's a post player. He has the skill set of a post player. Hell, he plays in the paint. He takes more shots in the paint than Shaq, right? Like, so if that ain't a definition,
hold on, let's stop right there. You think Giannis Shaq like? Jeff?
Yeah,
Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff, get
Shaq like. I didn't say he was Shaq. Listen to your words.
Okay.
Shaq like.
What does that mean for you that he's Shaq like?
The man averaged 35 on 60% shooting and 10 boards in the finals. Had multiple, I think 3 40-point, 15 board games in the finals.
That makes
the only other person to do that was Shaq. Okay. I don't get more Shaq-like than that.
Because of the numbers. But for me, it's about dominance and presence, though. Like,
well, he was was he not unguardable in the
No. He did his thing. Like I said, there's no more hate towards that man. He got his closeout game was phenomenal.
Come on,
50 points.
Come on.
14 boards. 5 blocks.
Come on, man.
You got it.
He was the best player on the floor, offense and defense.
Yeah.
He's the best player on the floor, offense and defense. Like,
so we need to stop putting his name in the same sentence as Shaq, though. That's good.
I mean, I'm just saying he got 2 MVPs. Shaq don't got 2 MVPs. He got he got
defensive player of the year too.
I'm still taking Shaq over Giannis, but Giannis, shoot, he's
building
nice. Up that if we're talking about all-time best fours, right? He's
in that conversation now for sure.
He's making his case. Like you know what I'm saying? We're talking about 2 regular season MVPs, a defensive player of the year, a finals MVP. Like he's in rare company. I think only Jordan and Hakeem got those, right? So. And so, he's doing something pretty nasty. Now he's got a long way before he catches somebody like Tim Duncan, and things like that. But he's definitely
because Timmy has 5
rings.
Yeah, that's tough. He only got 1. He got some work to do.
Yeah, 3 finals MVPs too.
Yeah,
so
that's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be definitely tough.
That's gonna be tough.
It's definitely gonna be tough. Well, Rob, we've been on here for a while. I want to get you out on this though. So after all the moves that have been made during this offseason draft, free agency, all this stuff, who would you say, if we're doing a way too early on August 4th, way too early NBA Finals matchup prediction? Give me yours right now. Just right now, I'm putting you on the spot. You got to pick who you believe in August will be in the finals in June of next year. If you just had to throw it out there, give it to me. We know what you got to say. You're gonna say.
This is clickbait, man.
I just need for you to say it. This
is clickbait.
I just need for you to say it, man. Just go ahead and say it.
Lakers and the Nets, man.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on, man. I knew you.
Lakers and the Nets, man. That's what we're paying to see, and it's crazy because I was just talking to somebody else the other day, and it's like, did LA take the mecca of basketball from New York now? Because it seems like all of the ball players are coming from LA. That's what I'm seeing.
You talking about like on a grassroots level, or are you talking about like what?
I'm talking about currently like the players that are being cooked up, like that are coming into the league now.
Yeah.
Who's the best player that we seen come out of New York recently? Let's do last 7 years. Tobias Harris. See, you see how you?
I gotta think.
That's what I'm saying.
Who is it?
James Bucknight is from Brooklyn, but he didn't play a game yet.
Yeah, he's good, but he's not like
Kemba, Tobias Harris. I mean,
who is that? Who's the other one?
I mean, we have Kemba, we have Tobias Harris.
Yeah. A lot of the dogs is coming out of LA. Like off the top of my head, I mean, obviously like Harden and Westbrook, and they're older, but like they're out of LA.
But they're from Cali.
George. It's a lot of dudes out of LA. Dang.
There's a lot of ballers coming out of Cali. And I think it was the Older Smoke podcast. Shout out to them. I think I had heard it on there, and it just stopped me from. I said, damn, LA really is. Cali's pushing them. They're breeding them.
I'm trying to think who's
that's what I'm trying
I can't think of like, dang, that's a tough question. Because like I'm thinking about the draft, and I know like Obi Toppin's from New York, and like you said, James Bouknight's from New York, and I'm trying to think.
But I'm talking about a staple. Like I don't know the last time. It's been a minute since we had somebody that was from New York that was like the man.
Yeah.
And I even really have to think back on that myself because it's been a while for us.
Yeah.
It's not looking good, New York. That's all I'm saying. And I ain't talking about the Knicks.
And man, dang, that is tough. That's something I'm gonna simmer on, man. I'm gonna really think about. Well, Kyrie's from New Jersey, right? He's not from New York.
That's not his dad is from the Bronx. I mean, He's a cousin. He's not necessarily family.
Okay.
No, he's family, but you know what I mean.
But he ain't. He's a cousin. Okay, yeah. Dang, that's rough. Because I tried to get. Well, New York, I tried to give you one. I tried to give you Kyrie.
Listen,
he's from New Jersey, so. But Rob, man, I appreciate you hopping on here with me for tonight, man. Once again, this is Rob Bruin, Mr. ESPN Rob Bruin. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will be here tomorrow with BSO, the creator of Black Sports Online. Robert Littall's coming to sit and chat with me. So be sure to hit the thumbs up button, guys, on your way out. Thumbs up, and I will see you tomorrow.